a chance of winning and still send a message that way. So go on. Did you have a question?
Yeah, quick. I know a lot of people were talking about reaching out to local media, but has anyone tried to reach out to Ben Swan, our beloved media hero, and the Paul movement about this?
Well, Ben Swan was trying to follow up with us on the Alaska conventions, and then he got distracted and never got back with us. But we'd be happy to talk with him. I'd be certainly happy to talk with him. But yeah, I think that the other suggestion somebody made today was to call, or write as many letters to the editors as possible. If you want Ron Paul to stay in the race, write your dissatisfaction with what just happened, and write that you still want him in the race one way or another. And if his metrics people track that stuff, then he really will see those things, in addition to actually calling his office and getting other people to call. The most important thing about this call, and the whole point of this call, is to encourage you to go on an active campaign, one way or another, to the limit that you're comfortable with, to get as many people right now, this week, to call Dr. Paul's congressional office, to go to his house.gov site, and post your thoughts on this to try and encourage him to run. He needs to hear it from enough people to realize that we're not done with him yet. We're drafting him. Now, he was drafted in 2008 by us, and he was drafted again in 2012, and I appreciate that he might want to take a rest, but he is the very best voice we have for our fundamental rights, and we need him to hang in there for at least a couple more months and keep spreading that message. And there's that slight chance that we can get him elected, and we would sure hope so. I'm going to go to the next caller, Niam Marnell, but I'll ask all people who are commenting to comment on the topic of this call as much as possible and stay from the tangents so that the other people on this call can help make this happen.
Yes, hi. My name is Neve, and I'm in Florida, and I'm 100% behind going for Ron Paul all the way. I think the one question I have is, I don't know if everybody saw the Doug Weed video from We Are Change on Daily Paul the other day, but he had said that the reason Ron Paul didn't go after Romney during the debates was because that Romney threatened to drop a PR A-bomb on Ron Paul and basically ruin his name and ruin his legacy. And Ron Paul had felt that that might damage the liberty movement and everything that we've worked for. So I wondered, if that's still a concern for him or if that's something that we need to be concerned about.
I think it would be good to let him know that you're aware that that's a potential concern. He did not talk with me about that at all. He has certainly been attacked multiple times for the same things over and over again. They have to dig 30 years back to come up with things, and 15 years back. I think that nothing can tarnish his reputation. I would be surprised if there's anything there that can, because the man's such a straight shooter.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a concern for me, and maybe that's something that when people are writing or calling, that they might want to mention that, that they're not concerned, that they think that we can keep his reputation good. So that's all I have to say.
Yep. To me, his legacy is that he helped wake people like me and you and so many of us up, that we care so much, that we work so hard to get him elected because he spoke to our hearts. And that is his legacy, that he's gotten us to be self-educated on so many topics that are fundamental to American civilization and our history that were not well taught in our schools. He's rekindled our concern and yearning for liberty. Now we have Amanda Hillman. Amanda Hillman, you're on the line, 936-257-2669.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. I barely can hear you. My name's Michael Smith. I'm from Texas. A lot of you people know me online, Mike O. Smith. I'm part of the core team group with Watch the Vote 2012. My big concern is the elections and the way that the computers are counting the votes. And I think a lot of people, they don't really put too much concern in it, and they don't think about it. But as long as computers are counting the votes, I mean, nothing ever is really going to get changed. So everyone that's on this call needs to really, really take the time to watch the rigged election videos that are on YouTube.
Yes, I've watched them. Curtis. I'm aware of them. Now, what else can we do to help get Dr. Paul to keep running and spreading this message?
I'm in Texas, And I mean, if Dr. Paul was running, I would definitely vote for him. Right now, for me, there's no way in hell I would ever vote for Romney. My only chance right now to vote for anyone would be Gary Johnson here in Texas.
Okay.
So that's
so
what
will
I'm
you write to
do.
Ron Paul and ask him to
definitely.
run? And we get 10 more people to do it?
Yep.
Okay, then that's what we'll do, and we can keep studying the rigged elections and have a movement to get open source computing wherever there's computers that are counting stuff. But there's definitely some very legitimate questions about what you're talking about. I don't know how we're going to solve them on this call tonight. I have another caller from 808. It's a wireless caller. 808. Yes, hello.
Hi. Yeah, I just had a question. It might be a little off topic, but I saw today that the Audit the Fed bill from Ron Paul got released on September 1st. Is that correct?
I don't know. I have not kept up with that.
Well, I just didn't know if it really was true about the $16 trillion was racked up by the Fed and they gave it to all the private banks without telling the public.
That seems to be true, and that seems to have been short-term revolving loans. A lot of that were one-day loans, but definitely true. But I'm not an expert on that. Did you have anything about the topic of this call?
The euro?
Do you have anything about the topic on this call? I can't hear you, but I guess I'm going to let you go because I really think that we need to stay focused on the topic of this call. And now it's 978.
Hello, this is Mike Tan from Boston, Mass. I am so excited. I just want to tell you that I'll do everything I can. I think that this is oh man, people need to wake up. Like, we've come so far. The Gary Johnson ticket is amazing already. Add Ron Paul to it. Come on. You know, Vice President,
yes.
Let's do this. I swear to God, like, people need to stop asking questions and say, how can we get this done? I do media in Boston. Two Hotheads is the radio show on Unregular Radio. I'm a former, MassCan board president. We do the Freedom Rally coming in 2 weeks on the Boston Common. It's the biggest marijuana fest and on the East Coast. So I've been doing a certain area. I'm independent. I'm a, independent voter, and I'm all with you guys.
Great.
So don't worry about the Republican thing. You stay Republican, just like you said. You guys need to get it done. Let's get Ron Paul on that ticket. Let's get Gary, the Libertarians. You know how much media we're going to get? You know how much money we're going to raise? We're going to get in the debates. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Let's do this. Thank you so much. I really like that positive energy. And that just reminds me, I wanted to share this message with Dr. Paul, and if you can share it in your different way, we need to remind him that sometimes the improbable happens effortlessly when the critical mass is there. You know, when I grew up, there was a Berlin Wall, and all of a sudden one day it came down. There was no war, nobody got shot, even though people had been shot previously trying to cross that wall. It caught everybody by surprise, it seems like. Nobody knew that it would come down. When I was a kid, there was a Soviet Empire, and we were always on the verge of a nuclear war. And somehow the Soviet Empire crumbled and came apart, and all the republics that were so-called republics, all the slave states of the Soviet Empire were suddenly free without a war. So the amazing things can happen unexpectedly, and that's one thing that we have to remember when there's a critical mass. If we feel it in our hearts and we communicate that and we wake up everybody else to join in with us, then we can make amazing things happen. We need the critical mass. I think that there are enough people upset with the way things have been going that we may possibly do this at this time. My next caller that I have is Denise Rednor.
Yes. Hi. Thank you for taking my call. My name is Denise Rednor, and I run a blog talk radio channel called Global Voice 2012. And I wanted to invite everyone and make a short statement. On Tuesday evening, this coming Tuesday evening, which is the same evening Dr. Paul will be on the Jay Leno show, we will be hosting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Dr. Paul's attorney, Richard Gilbert.
Okay.
And Mr. Gilbert...
that's not Dr. Paul's attorney. That's the organizer of Lawyers for Ron Paul, which is a grassroots effort that's separate from Ron Paul. But Mr. Gilbert will be on with us on Tuesday evening, and we will be Mr. Gilbert has
has filed the lawsuit against the RNC for the improprieties, the wrongful misdoings that happened during the RNC, and is in contact with Mr. Paul. We don't want people to give up on the idea of Ron Paul, running. We've had a lot of people discuss, too late. Romney was nominated, but the consensus is that Romney may in fact not be qualified, and it's not over until this suit is still pending.
Well, I would hope that would be the case, but I would suspect that we'll get as little traction with that as Obama's birth certificate, even though it's quite clear that his birth certificate.
Possibly, but at the same time, we are going to have people that are going to be on the call, and we want people to rally and support and speak out on behalf of Dr. Paul,
and tell people
support.
One more time how to get on that.
Okay, it's on Blog Talk Radio, and it's called Global Voice 2012, and it will be on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Now, for everybody who I promised that I would find this message about Ron Paul at the Jay Leno show taping, and that taping is this Tuesday, September 4th at 12 p.m. Pacific at the NBC Studio 11, which is the corner of Bob Hope Drive and Parkside Avenue. Now, they didn't put the exact town here in the description I have, but maybe I have some more information. I have just posted it, though, on the Alaskans for Ron Paul Facebook page, Alaskans for Ron Paul 2012 Facebook page, and in the group, and we'll get this post into our event as well, so you can, the event for this call, so you can see it there. But it says, we also need to be lining the streets to welcome and see off the good doctor. So any of you that have friends in the Southern California area, they want them to go to 3000 West Alameda Avenue in Burbank, California, or maybe that's the phone number. They want a sign bomb. It says, welcome and committee and sign bomb will take place on the corner of Bob Hope Drive and Parkside Avenue. And the address and phone number of the studios at the bottom. So the studios at 3000 West Alameda Avenue, Burbank, California, 91523. And the actual place to meet for the signs is the corner of Bob Hope Drive and Parkside Avenue. So hopefully as many of you as possible can share that information with your California friends and get them lining the streets so that Dr. Paul can see people turning out for him Tuesday. I see a John White, and now I'm going to let you speak.
Yeah, actually this is Doug White. How you doing? I want to thank you for putting this on tonight. I just wanted to ask a question for everybody to answer for themselves about what we're doing here, and that is this election. Obviously, it might not go our way, but our next chance to get a Liberty candidate in the White House is assumed to be 2016. But that would only be possible if we were to go through 4 more years of Obama. If Romney were to take the presidential office, we could potentially not see another opportunity until 2020. And
yes,
even then, if you go further,
that is a good point. But it is possible to still nominate someone other than the Republican incumbent, but I don't know that it's ever been done. But it is technically possible. To do that, we would really have to wrest control of the whole party infrastructure with enough Liberty delegates nationwide, getting up to the highest levels of the state so they can be at the highest levels of the RNC. And that is one. And this is why I'm here. I don't want to wait 4 more years. I don't want to wait 4 more years.
We've seen what kind of destruction they can do to their own rules. So I think that's a very high goal to reach there.
Yes, it's a very hard goal.
But I mean, even moving forward, I would venture to say that after 8 years of a Romney administration, that we're probably going to see the pendulum swing the other way for who knows, maybe another 8 years. So we might be looking at 2024 before
You make a good point. You make a good point. Well, thank you.
So this is something that we need to consider. This is an emergency. because we don't
Yeah.
have